Hello everyone, welcome to ScorchYourToysAtAnyMoon.com's transformation guide for Bandai's DX VF-19 Advance and DX YF-19. Today we are going to go from Battroid mode to Gerwalk mode and ultimately end up in fighter mode, and I will try to tell you what steps you can skip to go from Battroid directly to fighter mode along the way. If you're shopping for these toys, they're sold out pretty much everywhere. If you're shopping for something else, I recommend you check out Big Bad Toy Store by clicking the link in the comments. You'll help this channel out by doing so. To begin, we are going to take our toy and we are going to try to bring these hips down and around. And the way to do that is there is a little button inside the hip. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll bring this crotch down first. And this just has a little hinge and a pivot and then another little door here that we can close up that had the peg on it. And now what I wanna do is I wanna bring this button inward so that I could swing the metal bar that the leg is on forward. So I'm gonna press in and I'm gonna bring the leg forward. And hopefully you can see that mechanism at work there. Now when I get all the way down, I can press the leg in and you should feel kind of a click, and that locks that metal bar inward, and then that allows me to rotate that leg down. And now I will repeat with the other leg. Look very tall and gangly now, but we're going to focus on the top and bringing this section up and over. And the way we're going to do that is by fishing a fingernail into this little door here and popping it up, and then just coming around to the front and just lifting up. Now put a finger on the nose cone and try to lift the chest up, and it should come up and over and fall back on you. And then we can focus on the nose of what will be the plane, and we can bring this section forward and bring it down, and it should kind of click into place. We could bring our canard back and fold it over, and you can see it recesses into the neck. I'll go ahead and do the other side now as well. Then we could bring the nose up of the craft, and then we have this door here, which if you just pull it up, it shouldn't really fit. It needs to be slid back a little bit, and then it should fit flushly. And there you go. You should have no big gaps in there. Nice tight seams. So this is what my toy looks like right now. Obviously I've still got a ways to go here. So I'm gonna just take this piece up top. I'm gonna swing it forward for the moment. And then even if you're going to fighter mode directly, take your Gerwalk joint and bring it down. This is gonna help you get no matter where you're going. Then we're gonna take the areas above the hips right here, and we're just gonna bring them forward. And you can see they have big fat pegs on the front of them that get received by slots on the side. And what this is gonna do is help you get your waist lined up. So just get that into position, peg them in. You might have to bring your legs out a little bit, but get everything lined up like so. And then we're ready to pay a little more attention to this stuff in the front. This is the toy's head. And what we wanna do is push down on it, bring our arms back so we can open up the trap doors on either side of it. Kind of pivot things so this isn't interfering with you. This top section up here. Turn the head around, bring it down, and pull it forward. And then close those doors on either side and bring the arms back down again. Looking underneath the chest now, we have a few things going on. This might be a little messed up from handling so far, but it should look pretty much like this. And what you want to do is bring these big gun barrels, just push those inward, push down on these tabs on the front of the chest. You can see they recess. And then you want to put a finger on the brown door and just bring the gun up. So leave that brown door down, the gun up, and you're gonna slide that forward like so. Now we need to collapse the torso section. And this stage is true if you're going to fighter mode, although you'd probably collapse your arms at this point too. We will do that in a moment. But what we wanna do now is bring this forward. Now don't bring it all the way forward just yet, because you do want to bring this section down before you get all the way in. And you can kind of just close things up, bring this button closed, and then bring it all the way forward. And that'll help you stop those guns from getting pinched. Now in doing this, I have inadvertently knocked my one leg out of position. So I'm going to go ahead on this side here and get that fixed. We want these legs to be nice and tight as we go forward. And you can see it's not the most natural thing. All right, and now what you can see is a slot underneath the armpit here. And what we want to do is bring this wing and we're going to pull it out, fold it over, and then with one finger just get it into position. And then we want to flip it up and tab it into the torso. Now there's a gap here. When you see that, that means you got to press down. And then we can tab it into the torso and do the same thing on the other side. So Gerwalk mode is hardly a thing of beauty at this point. One thing you really want to check, and I'm actually a little off on this, is underneath you have these guns that go on either side of the crotch. They were in the chest previously. You want to push those forward and in so they fit sort of in that little cove that they have there. Otherwise, they can screw up the geometry of everything. If you are going to Gerwalk and staying here, you want to go ahead and extend the leg, bring it forward, bring your ankle forward as well to get something that looks more like a natural Gerwalk pose. Now, if you have a VF-19 Advance, like I do, you can only pivot at the intake, like so, to get kind of your swept wing look. Now, I might have overdone it there a little bit. Let's bring that back in a little. Okay, so here is your Gerwalk mode with the aggressive sweep. Now there is an extra part that you get with these toys. That is a neck cover for this mode. I kind of view it as optional, but I think most people will probably take advantage of it. To put it in, just open one side, bring the tab in, bring that closed, make sure it's flush with your head, and then bring it back down again. And there you go, you have your Gerwalk mode toy. If you're bumping the cards like me, you're probably gonna have to push those back in and angle them upward, and obviously do some fine tuning, but there you go. You're in Gerwalk mode. Now, if you do have the YF-19 Advance, you have both that pivot behind the intake to use, and you have a twist at the knee. That was something they added for the YF-19 version of the toy. Before we move on to fighters, some common fine-tuning elements besides those guns underneath the crotch area right now. You might need, obviously, the canards, which we already spoke about. You can take off your covers for the intake fans if that's what you want to do at this point. And it's in handling, you might get some gaps along the side here where these hips are connecting. And if you pick up the toy by the nose at all, you could pop that door underneath free pretty quickly. So those are common things you want to look at when you get to Gerwalk mode. Make sure that you have in a position that you prefer. And then we're going to go ahead and continue on to fighter mode. And step one of going back to fighter mode is taking off the shield, extending the neck cover, and bringing this up like so, and then just putting this aside for the moment. We're also going to go ahead and untab the torso region that we had done before. So we're going to just pull out a little bit here and free that up on both sides. You might have to move your wings out of the way a little bit. So bring this free too. And while we're here, we should bring these arms back and open the bay and pull out this piece. You won't obviously be needing that where we are going. Focusing on the arms, and if you skip Gerwalk mode, this is probably where you're at. You're gonna pry that door open. You want to bring your hand out with your thumb kind of on the outside and fold it over. And it should fit in there. And you should be able to pinch that nice and tight closed. With your shoulder, there is this panel on the interior. We want to bring that down and push it in as far as we can. Then we're going to bring the whole arm back, and there is a joint at the elbow, and we want to kind of go beyond what a natural elbow would do and bring the shoulder down. And you see there's those pegs in the front of the shoulder. We're going to bring them flush, and we're going to bring the arm into that position there, and we're going to repeat on the other side. Okay, now you should have the torso kind of where it needs to be. You're going to just recess it down a little further between the legs, and if it's fighting you, flip the toy over, take a look. Your guns might be in the wrong position, so push those all the way forward and try to tuck them in, and then bring the toy down and in. So we're pressing down and in, and it should line up pretty flush with that section in front of it. So just a little pressure. You can see the legs are a little out of whack here. So there we go. So now you've got that front end. Don't worry too much about these gaps right now, because what we're going to do is come over to the side, and we've got that peg from the wing again, and we're just going to go ahead and peg that into position. Now I'm sure the instructions would tell you that you should have the wings all the way down on the side right now. So I'm cheating a little bit by not having pressed them out and then back in, but you can see how that works. All right, so now just press everything together, and you have that nice, smooth fighter mode section all coming together. And now we can turn our attention to the legs. There are a few cool gimmicks when it comes to the leg transformation on this toy. We can begin by just pressing those cavity fillers down, bringing the vertical stabilizers up and folding the fin over. And then what we want to do is take the leg, recess the foot, so get it into a fighter mode position and press it inward. And then you can take your thumb and press it on this panel right here, and you can see that collapses. And then we could take this door and bring it down, bring our leg out, and collapse that knee extension. And when you bring the leg up, you're going to want that vertical stabilizer straight up and down. You don't want to have it out like this, because then it'll hit the wings or whatever else. So bring it straight up and down, and now repeat with the other leg. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the shield in so I can pop open these doors on the side again, bring my shield out like we had shown in the beginning there. You want to fish the head laser through that slot, bring the shield forward. You can see there's a couple tabs on the front of the shield. I'm pegging it into the arms, and I am bringing the head back. Let's try to get that into position. And let's bring the arms forward, press down. You can see everything's kind of locked into position. I have a camera right in front of my face. It'll probably happen a little smoother and easier for you. Once it does, just collapse those doors. You should have your pegs over here hidden, and these should sit relatively flush, but you can see I have a little problem with them prying up just a little bit. Not a big deal. Now we just need to bring the legs up, and it's a little tricky because you have a peg right here, and then if we flip the toy over, there is the shoulder joint right here. Now what I recommend here is that you bring up these shoulder pieces a little bit, because they come down low enough where they can actually interfere with the legs as you bring everything up, and you don't want to have to be dealing with that. So I'm going to take my leg, and I'm going to apply pressure to try to collapse that Gerwalk joint. And as I do, this tab here is going to go within the housing. And now I'm applying pressure, but I'm hitting something, so I need to come up above. And this is what I was talking about with the vertical stabilizer. I don't want it hitting there. So now I'm just going to look at things from this side and try to get up and over like so. Now if I flip the toy around, that peg is not seated down, so I'm applying pressure inward, and it should, if everything works out right, that peg should settle in. So let's see here. looking at it from above. Let's get that up. There it goes. So there was a little bit of a recess that happened there. Looking on this side, we can see that that peg is now in position within it. So we need to do the same thing. There's no real clean and easy way to tell you how to do it. We're just gonna bring the leg up at the Gerwalk joint. And as we do so, we are going to not hit our wing. So you don't want to lock that peg in too soon. You want to make sure these lasers here, if they are lasers, Gatling guns, whatever they are, stay in their forward position. Get that Gerwalk joint all the way collapsed. Get the leg up and over that shoulder, and then make sure it pegs in properly, like so. And then we can come up to the top and just apply a little forward pressure to those shoulder covers and get our vertical stabilizers how we want them. If we've jostled things too much, press them into place. And now we have these tabs on the wings. So there's a tab there and a tab up above it. We just want to press those in. And you can see I have come untabbed at the front, which is far more significant. So get everything tabbed into position there. Get those legs tabbed in the front. Same thing on the other side here. We're gonna get our tabs into position. Now this tab is incredibly tight. And then we can get our wings into position, our canards in position, and we should be in fighter mode. Well, the road to fighter mode wasn't always pretty, but once you get there, fighter mode itself looks pretty good, but there are lots of issues that may need fine-tuning. Obviously the canards, obviously the vertical stabilizers, especially if you have a DX-YF-19, you're probably putting those back on the toy since they pop off so frequently. These shoulder covers, they don't really lock into position very well. I tend to get gaps front and back on those, so if you have those, don't freak out. The gap between the shield and the legs is natural. You didn't do anything wrong. Look for pegs though, popping up in the front of the shield. They should be nestled underneath. And you should try to press these trap doors down as much as you can, but you might get a little issue there. I've got it. I'm not gonna freak out about it. I don't think there's much we could do. On the bottom, make sure everything's coming straight back. If you've got some pressure somewhere in there, a leg will be coming off to the side a little too much. That means you got a geometry issue. Again, check those guns in the front. They tend to be the culprit. Or lift these shoulders up and try to push the legs in a little bit further because that can be an issue too. Check out anymoon.com. I've got a full article up there. I've got an installation guide for the fast packs or advanced packs in fighter mode. I've got scans of the instruction manuals as well. As always, thanks for watching.